I don't have a traditional Christmas tree. My Christmas tree is white. It's got multicolored decorations, very much 90s Christmas, tacky Christmas. That's my vibe. So white Christmas tree, and I bought this really pretty Christmas tree topper thinking that this would fit in with the vibe of my Christmas tree. It's iridescent. I thought when the light catches it, it's going to be fab. But it kind of gets very washed out. It kind of just becomes part of the Christmas tree. This year, what I decided to do is to get rid of this, and I decided to crochet a Christmas tree topper. What I thought I'd do is I would film the process. So you guys, if you want to make a crochet Christmas tree topper, you can do that as well. Remember, if you like crochet, if you like art, if you like thrifting, those kind of things, I upload every single Sunday. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. I was actually inspired by this creator. And what I wanted to do was I wanted something that was similar to what she did. She actually used double crochets and she backed it. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it slightly different using single crochets. And I'm going to do different pieces and give it more of a Nordic feel. So what you're going to need for this is a variety of different wools. I've used DK wool in primary colours. And the hook sizes that I've used are a 3.5mm and a 4mm. Without further ado, let's get on with the video. We're going to start off with a magic ring. So how I do my magic ring is I hold both pieces and I turn it over to make a loop. So basically that is what you're going to have. So if I have it out straight, you're going to bend it over so you just have that loop. And in effect what we're going to be doing is we're going to be crocheting around this part here, hence magic loop. We can pull that and it will make that go completely tight so you won't see that hole, and then this end bit will weave in. So magic loop, I hold the magic loop with the hand that I'm doing my yarn with. We're going to go through, we're going to pull through and pull through again. That is how you start your magic loop, and that doesn't class as a stitch. So we're going to go ahead now and we're going to do 6 single crochets. There's 2, there's 3, there's 4, 5, 6, and we're going to pull that. We are going to go back into that first single crochet to close that. Now what we are going to do is do 2 single crochets in every single loop. So I'm just going to pull up 1, one, 2, find that first loop and seal it off with a slip stitch. So now we have 12. Chain 1, and what we're going to be doing in the first stitch, we are going to do 2 single crochets. 1, 2, followed by 1 single crochet in the next, and we're going to continue that doing 2 sorry. Then we're going to continue doing that, doing 2 single crochets in 1 stitch, followed by 1 single crochet. So 2 single crochets in that stitch, followed by single crochet. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18. And then seal that off. So now row 4, we are going to do a chain, and in that first stitch, 2 single crochets, followed in the next 2 stitches, single crochet, single crochet. Again, so we're going to do 2 single crochets in the next stitch, followed by a single crochet, followed by a single crochet. We're going to do that all the way around, and then we're going to have 24 stitches. You should have 24 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Seal that off with a slip stitch in that very first stitch that we did. And now we're going to move on to row 5. This is going to increase us to 30. Like we did before, we're going to be doing a chain stitch, and in that first stitch, 2 single crochets. Now, instead of doing followed by 2 single crochets, it's going to be followed by 3. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do 2 single crochets in that next stitch, followed by 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So let's join it, go into that first stitch and make a slip stitch. Next row, we're doing row 6, so like before, chain stitch, and then in that first loop, 2 single crochets. We're going to do 4 single crochets now in the next stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by 2 single crochets in that next stitch. 1, 2. Then we're going to be doing 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're just going to continue doing that all the way around. And 4. Let's count those stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So here we go. We're going to join into that first stitch. Right, what we're going to do now is row 7, chain, go into that first stitch and bring up 1, go into that same stitch, 2, so 2 single crochets in that first stitch. We are then going to follow that by 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Then followed by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're just going to continue doing that all the way around. You should have 42 stitches. We're going to go into that first one, slip stitch, tie it together. Now for row 8, we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to be increasing the way we have 2 double crochets followed by 6 single crochets, but if we did that we would end up with 48 stitches. Because our star is going to have 5 points, we want to try and make that even. So we need to add 2 extra stitches into this row. And that is going to give us 50 stitches, meaning that we can have 5 lots of 10 stitches. So how we're going to do this is we're going to chain 1. And we're going to do 2 single crochets into that first stitch. We're then going to do 3 single crochets, 2, 3. We are then going to do 2 single crochets in the same stitch, 1, 2. I'm going to follow that by 2 single crochets. Then what we're going to do is do 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1, 2, followed by 6 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are then going to do the same again. 2 single crochets, 1, 2, followed by 6. Then we're going to do what we did at the start. 2 single crochets into that first stitch, 1, 2, followed by 3 single crochets. Then 2 single crochets into the next stitch, 1, 2, followed by 2 single crochets. Next stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochets in the same stitch, 1, 2, followed by 6 single crochets, 1, then 2 single crochets, 1, 2, and then slip stitch. Now we are going to be doing our peaks. We're going to chain 1 and then 10 single crochets. We're then going to chain, turn over. We're going to go 10 single crochets back the other way, 10, turn over. We are then going to be reducing. What we're going to do is we're going to go into that first stitch and come through the back and pull that yarn through, and that makes our single crochet. That's 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, to do our 8th stitch through that stitch, back out the other, pull through, and again. So that is now giving us 8 stitches. Turn over. No chaining, just go straight back into that first stitch that we've made. That is your first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Turn it over. So you now have 2 rows of 10, 2 rows of 8. We are going to go through here and out the next, pull through, and that makes stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to do 6 in that one, out the other, pull through, and up again. That reduces to 6, turn over, straight into that back stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Turn it over. I'm going to skip that one, go to the next, pull through, and we go first stitch, second, second, third, remember to reduce, 1, and I'll give you 4, turn over, back into that first stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, over, 1, 2, 10 over, 1, 2. So you have 2 rows of 10, 2 rows of 8, 2 rows of 6, 2 rows of 4, 2 rows of 2, and to finish off, you're going to go through that next stitch and pull it up. And there you have one point of your star. What you're going to do now is you're going to single crochet along. 1, 2, 9, and 10. There's that 10th stitch, come back through into that 10th stitch, and there we are. So next 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you're going to repeat that process going around until you get to the last point. So now you should have a 5-point star. What we are going to do now is we are going to crochet all around the star in a single crochet. So what you're going to be doing with this is single crochet in 10 going up to the peak and then 10 down. So this is what the star looks like once you've crocheted all around it. Before it did look quite rough going around the edges, but now you have this lovely smooth edge. So what we are going to do now is we are going to go around the edge with green just to give it that little Christmassy pop. So we are going to join. Well, first what we're going to do is we're going to cut off this red and we'll weave that in later on. So we are going to go all around this edge just in single crochets like we went around the star in single crochets, just to give it that little pop of colour. So I ended up going around the star twice in the green. It is kind of ruching up a little bit at the edges, but that is okay because when it has its backing on, it is going to be stuffed, so that will kind of flatten out over time. But I love this green. I actually don't know what this green is. This is something that I just found in my stash. I think I might have just got it in one of the pound shops because it doesn't exactly feel that great. It has like plasticky kind of feel to it. Like it wouldn't feel nice on your skin, as in if you wanted to wear like a jumper made out of it, but perfect for projects like this. Now on the first row, when you get to the tip, you want to make sure that you're doing 5 single crochets on the first row, then followed by 3 on that second row. But it's looking very, very, very Christmassy. So what we are going to do now is we are going to make a smaller star to stitch into the center of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off the way we did, making a flat circle. We're going to be using this lovely blue colour and start off by making a magic ring. We are then going to crochet 6 single crochet. So we're going to make that flat circle and we will meet back up at row 4. So here we are at the end of row 4, we're slip stitching to finish that round. So now we have 30 stitches, which is great for us because that is going to divide equally by 5. So we're going to be having 5 sections of 6 stitches, and we're going to make those peaks exactly the same way. So let's just chain 1 and we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a 6. We're going to turn over straight into that first stitch and we're going to single crochet along 6, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Turn over. We're going to reduce by going through that first stitch and then second stitch, pulling that yarn through, 1 single crochet, 2, 3, and then reduce, into that first stitch, and then second stitch, and that's going to give us 4 stitches. Turn over straight into that first stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, turn over into that first stitch, into that second stitch, pull through into that third stitch, into that fourth stitch, pull through. That's giving us 2 single crochets. So into that first stitch, into that second stitch, and then to make that peak, just go into that next one to bring it up to there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to crochet down. Right, so into that first stitch there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then into that very last stitch of that first row, 6. There you are. So there is the peak of our middle star. What we are going to do now is we're going to repeat that 4 more times, and that is going to give us a completed star. Right, so we're coming up to the very last peak, last single crochet there. Then what we'll do is we will slip stitch into that first stitch. Now what we're going to do is we're going to single crochet all the way around the star to give it that neat shape. So chain 1, and we are going to go 6 single crochets all the way to the top. So that's 6, and then we're going to do 3 single crochets in that very top stitch, and then 6 single crochets down, and we're going to repeat that all the way around. So we now have our completed star. So this is what it's going to look like when it's sat in the middle. I think it looks really, really lovely. What we're going to do now is we're going to do a little design on the star before we stitch it to the red star. So I'm going to cut myself off some yellow thread, and what we're going to be doing is a little design where it goes up and you have some little kind of prongs coming off it, almost like a snowflake. So what we're going to do is we're going to join at the back, just go through one of those stitches so it's not showing on the other side. And just tie it in that knot. Okay. So, come through close to the centre and then go up to the top. One thing I also will say is that I've left quite a large cutting of the blue wool coming off here, and that is so we have some blue wool to actually stitch this to the red star. So back to here, what we're going to be doing is a stitch. You want to do this quite high up because we're going to be stitching a circle onto the centre of this. This is the reason why we do this embroidery first, so all of those yellow stitches at the bottom, they're covered up by the green circle when we stitch that on, and it will give the effect of that the yellow is coming out of that stitch, so that the yellow is coming out of that green circle. And we're going to do that all the way around. So here we have the star that has the lovely yellow detailing. What we're going to do now is we're going to make a green circle to stitch in the centre of here. We're going to be doing that the exact way we have the last two ways that we did that star, a nice flat circle. We're going to do 3 rows. So we're going to do that magic circle, and here we are, the very final row, and we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch, chain, pull, and we want to make sure that we're cutting quite a large string so we can stitch that onto that middle star. We're going to start this off the way that we have with our 6 single crochets. Pull. Right. First thing we are going to do is stitch this. We want to try to get this as centered as possible. And crease. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is make sure that this green circle is now centered on the blue. By using the green thread, it will appear almost invisible. Okay, and now we are to seal it off. And we'll snip that green. And now put that to one side. Right. Another little bit of detailing is we're going to get some orange yarn and we're going to add some detailing going around. So first, let's join this yarn to the star. And we're going to go right through the centre. This green star coming right through the centre of the yellow. And the first thing we're going to do is come into the middle of those 2 points, like so. We'll then come into the middle of the second 2 points. Come back through the centre. We'll then come through the middle of the next 2 points, and then go back through the centre of the yellow. Then we'll come through that centre of those next 2 points, come back down through the centre and middle of that yellow. Lastly, coming through the middle of those 2 points and coming through the centre. Of that. We will then seal this off. And then cut that off. The next thing for us to do is to stitch the blue star onto our green star. We're going to bring that blue yarn, which has been patiently waiting from when we did that first blue circle, and we are going to pull it through. We're also going to tie it to that red yarn, just so we don't have any other pieces flying around as well. Let's weave these ends in. Okay, we are now going to grab our blue yarn and get that on our darning needle. Star is in the centre, and what we are going to do now is stitch our star to our red star. What we're going to do is we are going to make a nice little chain going all around the blue star. So we're going to chain and then we're going to stitch it on this red background. What you're going to do though is you're going to leave quite a lot of thread, and we're going to be using this to stitch it on as we go. So if I come up here, we're going to do a little slip knot, and we are just going to start chaining. What you're going to be doing as well is you are going to be checking as you go to see how much you need. We're going to take the crochet hook off, just leave that loop and leave that to the other side, and we're actually going to be starting. So this is where we began, and we're going to be using this long piece of thread, and just start at the top of one of those peaks. And what we are going to be doing is we are going to be stitching this chain to the red. Now the reason why I've left it open at the ends is if we need to take some away, or if we unravel them, or if we need to add more, we can do. I'm never that good really at judging how much I need, so I thought, you know what, we will just leave this open. So we are coming right up to the end of this now, right up to here. I'm going to make sure that I've got this very first stitch sewn to that very last stitch, And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start pulling these chains away. When I'm happy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip that end off. Take my yarn off my darning needle and put it onto this side. Pull that through, so that's now on the back. Turn it over, and now I'm going to just tie these two pieces into a knot and snip them off. Right. What you're going to do is you're going to basically do this process again, so you have 2 stars. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be stitching these together, but we need something for the star to actually sit on. So what I thought I would do is I'm going to make a tube that fits on the inside. So inside this star there is going to be a tube that is stitched on here and sit on the inside. So we're going to do 8 chains, chain 2, and do a double crochet back into that 3rd stitch. And what we're going to do is we're going to crochet a really long rectangle. We're then going to turn it over and we're going to stitch it together, creating a little slip, like a little sock, that the top of the tree will rest inside. What we're then going to do is we're then going to stitch going all around the star, leaving the top open, and we're going to stuff it. So that was 20 rows of double crochet. Now what we are going to do is we're going to stitch along, joining that side, just doing single crochets. Right, once you get to the top, just crochet along. Remember, this doesn't have to be super neat. This is going to be inside, so you don't need to be precious with this. Right. And now we are going to crochet down the other side. So we're now at the end. We're just going to weave those ends in. Okay. So now we have this little area here where the top of the tree can go. What we're going to do is we're now going to stitch this on the inside. So now what we need to do is we need to stitch this inner tube inside of the star. So what we're going to do is we are going to attach it. We're going to start at the top first, and we're going to attach it on here on this corner, just tying a knot. There we go. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be stitching this to the inside. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be picking up those inside loops so the green doesn't show on the outer. So we've got to the end now. We're going to fix that in place. And what we're going to do now is work down the side. Again, only picking up those inside loops. Just going all the way down. Just going to fix this in place. And we're going to stitch this opening only on one side to this side of the star. There we go. So that is all we're going to do in terms of fixing this tube to that star. We're going to leave a little pouch at the back, a little opening. You can see that opening here, because we're going to stuff this star. So I didn't want it to be super flat. I wanted that to have a little bit of stuffing behind it. So we're leaving that little pouch there so it's able to have a little bit of stuffing in it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start stitching the star together. Now what you're going to need to do is stitch the other side of that opening to the other side of the star, and that is what I'm doing here. I go off screen, unfortunately. A lot of the time when I'm trying to film, I'm doing this when I also have my little boy kind of walking around as well. So half the time I'm focusing on what I'm doing here, but then I'm also keeping a watchful eye on him as well. So sometimes in my videos there's going to be little mistakes. Sometimes in my videos you are going to hear noises like dogs barking and my little boy making his little sounds, and you know what, we are just going to live with it. We're all just going to have to live with that. So we've just finished stitching the opening to the front side and the back side of the star. And what we're going to do now is we are going to be going around the entire star, going under those loops, and we are attaching that star together. We're only going to go halfway up on the star, as you'll see in a few moments. We're going to do that on either side, because when we're stuffing that, we want to make it easy for ourselves. We want to make sure that we're getting right down into those top peaks of those stars so they are all puffed up. So we're coming up to the top peak of that star, and what we're going to do is just go up to that peak, and then we are going to stop, leaving it half open. So as you can see, we've only stitched half of the way up. It's leaving that big flap there, and what we're going to do is we are going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So like the other side, what we're going to do now, we've fixed this yarn and we are going to stitch all the way up to that second peak again. So not going down towards the next peak. So basically we're going to be going up, down and up again in terms of the star peaks. And then that's going to leave a really big flap, and then we can start stuffing that star. So we're finishing off that second round of fixing the both stars together, and what you will have now is this open flap ready to put all of the stuffing inside. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start stuffing our star, and we're going to make sure that we're getting that stuffing right down into those peaks. We also want to make sure that we're taking effort and making sure we're getting some stuffing underneath that inner tube as well. We don't want that part to be all smushed down. And once you're happy with how stuffed it's looking, you're going to want to start to stitch this together. Again, we are only going to go so far because we want to make sure that we're leaving that opening. So we've got to the top and we're leaving that opening. So what we're going to do is we're going to stuff this as much as we can, making sure that we're moving into those peaks, making sure that they're really kind of pointed and fluffed up. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sealing it and leaving a hole of about 2 centimetres. So we've left that gap of about 2 centimetres right at the top. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to squish this down and just see if anywhere else needs a little bit of stuffing. This part here just needed a little bit more fluff just in the part where we're going to seal. So I'm just shoving that into there, and then now what we're going to do is we are going to stitch that up. Here we are. It is all completed. We are just finishing off that final tie off, tying that knot in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to push that darning needle right into the star, pull it out the other side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to just snip that end off, and it will just jump straight back inside the star. Give it a little smush Squish it all out so you can see where you want all your points, making sure that everywhere's got stuffing equally distributed. If you've made it to the end, thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.